you for joining us and discover your real estate career. I'm here today with Dan Perez of New American Funding, and we're going to talk about pre-qualifying your buyers and getting them set up for the real estate transaction. Dan, how you doing today?
I'm doing great, and Joe, thank you for having me here. I really appreciate this. This is a great good opportunity. I appreciate that.
That's cool. You're welcome. Thanks for joining us. We do a lot of work with Dan here, and he does a great job, and we're really happy to have him on the show today. And the first thing is, Dan, what is the benefits to having a buyer pre-qualified just up front and getting them set to go? Tell us about that, will you?
It's a huge benefit if you really, and I say that because the last thing you want to do is get yourself a great buyer in your car and find out at the end that they're not qualified. And by getting them pre-approved, you're able to know that they're going to qualify, that you're showing them the right properties at the sales price they qualify for, and the payment they want, which is very important. But yes, that's the main reason.
So the pre-qual process, Dan, do you sit down face to face over the telephone? How does that work?
Well, I'm still old school. I've been doing this 25 years, and I like the face to face. It's something that's worked for me. Of course, I like the face to face. Now, technology has changed, and you got all these great millennials out there who love to do everything over online. So we still provide that, but I love the face to face. It's the number one thing I love to do.
And what are some of the things that a buyer or prospect needs to bring in for you to review for that pre-qual process?
The qualification has changed so much, and I would say in the last 2 years, it's gotten lenient actually. In the old days, we would ask you if you were a W-2 employee, we ask you to bring in 2 years of tax returns with your W-2s, 30 days of income documentation, and 2 months of bank statements. Any investment accounts you would have for 401ks, we ask you to bring all that in now. But time has changed, and so if you're a W-2 employee, we just need 2 years of W-2s and 30 days of income documentation.
That's good news. And when you meet with them, do you advise the realtor? This is all about the real estate
Absolutely.
community. Do you advise a realtor to attend that meeting with their prospective buyer?
I encourage them to attend, and the reason is just then they're aware of what we're talking about. We've had situations where the borrower qualifies. I'll give you an example: an $800,000 purchase, but they really don't want that payment. They really want to stick around the $700,000. So when we get them together, the realtor understands what the buyer's needs are, and we all in the same boat, and we're all looking to close it on time, and everybody be happy.
Beautiful. Now, I was going to ask, there's different types of mortgages available, and just give us a quick menu of the different types of financing available on properties. Without, we don't need to go into detail, but
Yeah.
for example, minimum down payment on a condo or a single-family home under $500,000. What's a minimum down payment you can come in with?
I smile when you say that because you can do a VA at 0% down.
Right.
You can do under 500, so you be conventional. You can do as little as 3% on a regular conventional loan, to a 3.5% on an FHA, to a down payment assistance where maybe a $500 out of your pocket, to a non-QM product which allows you to have bankruptcies, have dents in your credit report, but that's a little bit more on the 20%. But plenty of product out there available for most buyers right now.
So, and there's no limit, of course, to the down payment. I mean, you can pay cash for it. The more down payment that you have, the easier it is to get qualified for that loan along the way. Is it
Absolutely. Due to the new products that are involved now, there's we're back to the bank statements. We're back to especially if you're self-employed. So yes, the larger the down payment. Again, the larger the down payment, the better the interest rate.
Right.
It's really what it comes down to.
Can we talk about VA financing for just a minute?
Sure.
Our veterans, they really, a lot of them, I think, don't really understand the benefits of VA financing, and I think a lot of sellers and real estate agents, for that matter, don't understand that it's really not a difficult process to get that done. So tell us a little bit about that process.
VA has changed. The seller or the borrower, the veteran cannot pay for the non-allowables, and it's always been passed on to the seller.
Right.
And that's where I think it's gotten a black eye, I want to say,
Right.
in the past. Not only that, appraisals were taking a lot longer. They were taking 2 weeks. On a VA, the appraiser is looking a little bit harder on the property, so it tears it up a little bit more. And a lot of agents were getting away from it. All that has changed. The VA has a lot more new agents to come on board, realtors to come on board, which is speeding it up. We're getting them in right now in 5 days, which is great. And I mean, just to be able to get in with zero down out of your pocket, which the veterans deserve that.
Right.
I think the sad part of it is that a lot of our veterans kind of forget about it.
Yeah.
They go on with their lives and they struggle, not struggle, but they really forget that benefit is there. Give you an example, I did a refinance for a gentleman. We're going through the process. He didn't have a VA. He was actually needed some money out of the property to get rid of some debt. And FICO scores weren't high. We're going through it, and it was a tough loan. Out of the blues, I just decided, just because I was at his house and I saw some plaques up on the wall, and I asked him, and he was a veteran, and guess what? We did a VA cash out, and he was greater interest. It was a great interest rate because of his FICO scores. VA doesn't really hit you for those FICO scores, and I was shocked how didn't even know he would be able to qualify for a VA loan.
Right.
So yeah, it's a shame that it's not out there. There's a lot of potential.
And then conventionally, you've got different limits. You've got jumbo limits. You've got that mid-range limit, and then you've got the conforming rate. And each of those carry with it a different percentage rate, a little bit higher, lower. Or tell me about that.
Yeah, on FHA, you have. Yes, you have a high balance, a regular FHA and a high balance. Those don't fluctuate too much. They do on the interest rate. Conventionals does. Normally, conventional is about a quarter difference. Give you a regular conventional loan right now, and don't quote me on this. I'm just guessing this right now based on the last few days' rates. We're looking at with 760 FICO scores, 20% down. We're looking at a 4.625.
So it's going to be fun, Dan, to listen to this in 10 years from now and compare that interest rate with what the interest rates are going to be then. A lot of and I want to just chat about interest rates a little bit. I still think I refer to them as free money right now. There seems to be a limit in everybody's mind of 5% or 6% or whatever that number happens to be. And for those of us who've been in the business for a little while, we remember those 16, 17% mortgage rates.
With 2 points, 3 points to buy down, and it was a 60% interest rate.
I remember. So. I remember we sold a house one time, and it was 8 points. It was 8 points, 16% FHA, and I think that we get spoiled along the way, and we compare it to what it's been lately. 3.5%, 4%, but we're still in great interest rate land, and who knows whether it's going to go up or down. None of us have a crystal ball on that. All we can do is imagine what it would be. But I think, what do you think about timing right now? Is here we are tell me about that.
Well,
tell me about timing.
I believe the market is flat right now. It's a great opportunity. The rates increased. They were in the fives. They were creeping up in the fives, maybe 5.125%, 5.25%. So that's sort of, I believe, through the holidays, it kind of froze the market. It slowed the market down. Now that the rates have dropped, good a quarter to 3/8 from where they were, it's opening the market. I mean, we're in February, and just yesterday I picked up two purchase contracts. Refis are picking up a little bit, so I think it's a great time to get into it before a lot more buyers get into it and the market starts moving again, which I believe it will in the summertime.
It's interesting that you say that, because now is a great time to buy, especially I think anytime a buyer is going to compete with a traditional buyer is going to compete with an investor, they're going to lose. Unfortunately, I mean they're going to lose that, and I think a lot of buyers took themselves out of the market over the last couple of years just because they wrote all kinds of offers on properties and weren't able to get the property, and an investor would come in and pay cash, and the seller sees that and elects to go that way, and now. The competition has dwindled a little bit. You don't have all the cash buyers out there as much, and everybody follows those guys. Now's a great time for that first time buyer to get in there and able to, what they're looking at. There's more to choose from, but the rates are still doable. They're still low. I agree with you. I think it's a great opportunity for anybody in the marketplace right now.
And you also got to remember, because due to the market, those deals aren't there anymore. Like what the
Right.
investor cash flipper wants, their margins have shrunk so much that they're sitting on the sidelines, which is allowing some of these first time home buyers to step in. And it's not going to be the perfect house,
Exactly.
but they can work on it, clean it up, and get the right price, and and allow them to get into their home.
You say that about it's not the perfect house. I always ask the question, what are you willing to buy today so that you can have your dream home in the future? And the average length of stay in a home is I don't know, between 6 and 9 years, and it's gone up over the last couple of years. But I was talking to a buyer just the other day. I ran into them out there, and they're not, I don't represent them, but my office does, and I said, congratulations, and they had 2 little kids, and I said, you're going to be able to spend Thanksgiving and Christmas in the same house for a lot of years.
Yeah.
And the wife was just, had tears in her eyes, and absolutely they're excited about that. And the last thing I want to touch on is just I think everyone pays a mortgage, and I think it gets lost in that.
Joe, I want to throw something in
Yeah.
there when we talk about that, not the perfect loan, a perfect home. We do have a 203Ks. We have rehabilitation
Right.
loans that we can apply to some of these buyers that can help them, buy a home, add a 30,000 onto the loan, take those 30,000, get themselves some windows, get themselves some new carpet, new painting, and get it close to that dream home and settle in for those 6 years that you're talking about.
Right.
And make that work for them. So the product is out there. They just got to ask, and that's what we're here for.
Well, you're exactly right, and I think that there's a lot of opportunity. But I think we've covered a lot of bases here, Dan.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Dan Perez, New American Funding, does a great job for us out there, and that's it for today. Anything else you want to add?
Feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions. I'm around on weekends. My cell phone is on the bottom of the podcast, correct? So contact me. If your lender doesn't get a hold of you, or you're trying to reach a scenario out there, a loan scenario, you have my phone number. Reach out, and I'll be glad to help you out anytime.
One other thing I wanted to talk about before we sign off is everybody is paying a mortgage. Everybody. If you're renting, you're paying your landlord's mortgage. If you're renting, the one thing I guarantee is that your rent's going to go up a year from now. It's the landlord it's not a gift. So if you're going to pay, we all have to live someplace. You might as well pay your own mortgage and have that debt reduction as time goes on. So that's the one last little plug I have. And that's it for today. Thanks for joining us. Charge on.